saying too bad. Being right here isn't the greatest always, but people act like they want to be right here most of the time. This isn't too bad, but when you leave them up high, you leave people a chance to bank a ball towards the stack, bank a ball towards their hole, leave you in the stack. So now they've got an easy way to get out of the break. But if you go ahead and you look at all the other options, so now when I'm down here a little bit more, I have a better chance of, right here, they can only pick. They're going to give up something. It's just a matter of which one are they going to give up. It's either that or they have to make a really good shot to avoid everything. So for me here, I'm going to kick, and I'm probably going to end up leaving this 7 ball as a bank, but that's just because the options are slight here. Or you could always try to take a foul. I'm not going to probably try to take a foul because you could still leak out and give up a bang in this touching shot. That's all I want to do. I'm going to block off that side of the lane. Now I can sit here, I can shoot the 7 ball, bank, and try to spin into the stack, but now I'm going to give up these balls. So that's not a shot now for my opponent. So had I hit that one with high inside, and I kind of skimmed that one, so I got a little bit more action on the stack and it spread it out. Now this break actually did come out good. It actually came out better than the last one. So in this case, I would have to say that, it's pretty hard to get out of this break from here, really. Whoever would be trying to get out of it here. Now here's an option though. This is when you start to look at the stack and you're always trying to look at how to get out of the break, but you really need to figure out, is there an offensive shot? Sometimes you don't have an option like, yes, we could roll up right here and give up the, an OA ball, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but then it gives them an option to kind of take a scratch and get you back out on the other side. You have a good break laid down. You could always try to see that right here, let's say the 6-5. I could use some high inside and I could shoot this ball head on and spread and make the 5 here. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And if I make it, cue ball's going to go this way straight through and probably run right into the 9. So it's all about how I hit it and how thick I hit the 6. So as you see, good come out. But most people overlook that shot and they don't really know how to read what the angle is off of 6 to the 5. So you adjust it. You have to kind of look and see, what makes sense of how the cue ball is going to come off that first object ball and how it's going to deflect and make the 5. Now this one turned out well also. Reason being, the only shot they really have is the 5 off the 8 here. They don't really have a way to turn the 5 ball bank. And I have the 6-7 wired to this hole over here. So now, even if they chose to try to get out of this, what I'm going to be looking at is a way to unhook the 6 and the 7 at the same time. Because leaving that ball is so dead wired from a lot of different areas that it's not really good to just leave it, because it doesn't matter getting out of the break if you can't move that ball. So, for me, I would probably take a look here and let's see. First option is best option sometimes. But you gotta think it and mull it over. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to shoot with a high inside. I'm going to barely try to touch the 8. Since I can't move these 3 balls here without selling out the 8 or something, I'm going to kick deep here, try to hit this side of the 8. If I hit any part of this side of the 8, about a quarter of it, cue ball comes straight here, 8 goes straight up, cue ball comes here and turns back in here. So that's what I'm looking for right now. wasn't bad, but ideally you see how it works. And if I had hit it a little bit harder and didn't catch the right angle and caught too much of the 8, I would have scratched. So that's why I try to hit it at a softer pace to make sure I hit the backside of the 8 and then give it that opportunity. Just so happened got unlucky that the 8 didn't move a little bit faster than that. Otherwise the cue ball comes right in here. Now this is a break, you don't get as much spread, but you don't leave the liabilities of, you know, I mean, you want to get a good spread, but this way it's a little bit, it's not so horrible. You can still kind of manage, not a lot of balls open, not a lot of balls open to either side of the person's pocket. So a person that might play tighter might like these breaks better, so there's not as many balls open for their opponent to run. So like if I'm playing a good player or something, I probably want it to be a little bit more like this sometimes, just because, you know, it stops, you know, shot making abilities and you know, and not as many balls that are open to be able to. Let's say here. So a good shot here would be the 214 is wired to that person's hole, to the breaker's hole over here. So I have to watch out for moving the 14. So the 14 is not an option to move at this point. Because if I moved it, they could kick at that ball from probably a lot of places and still make it. So that being the reason, we got to figure out a way. So I'm going to shoot the 6 ball, bank into the 12, try to push balls to my side. Try to just get the cue ball to skim up this way. So I'm more worried about the cue ball than anything, right? Well, let's see. The cue ball is kind of in a spot where they can make the ball. They might not be able to play as good shape from here, being that they're kind of dead straight in. So another option, since this came up right here, is let's say I did want to shoot it, but I left the cue ball anywhere from here to here. I might let my opponent shoot it so long as I'm close to the rail, because they can only make one ball, but if they miss it, they can give up a lot. So you always look at the risk-reward scenario in that spot. The game wasn't going to get no better for me if I don't start moving balls to my hole and my opponent has everything. Good. Good. Well, you all know the new rule. Ball on the break, re-rack. All right, now this is a good break because this is all kind of messed up right here, so they don't have nothing going in their hole. They don't have nothing on this side of the table. So, and it's a hard break to get out of without giving up something. This is another one of these type of shots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use high. I'm going to try to catch a little bit of the 12, just enough where I'm not hitting too far below it, but I want to barely touch it and hit it like half of it so the cue ball can still flow through. Now this all comes down to speed. Hitting it at the angle, make sure you know that how his speed is going to react, so it barely touches it and might come back and put him on the 9. That's ideal right there. And this spot I like to just barely touch the 11, kind of leave it on the rail. Yeah, we can either leave it on the rail or we can shoot it a little bit harder back into these balls and push them over and run the cue ball straight into here and back into it. Because we're not really leaving no banks that are open. There's no lanes here. So now I have balls that are open on my side, which is the ideal situation here. First thing after the break you always look at is to see if you got a wired ball. This 13, 6, 5, 10 kind of looks like it's wired to that hole, so I'm going to make sure just to see. It is very close, but it looks like I would have to hit it pretty hard. It's very close. It could turn right to the titty side of the top side of the pocket over there. So we're going to try to look at something different. Just focusing on trying to get out of the break in general. I'm not going to really worry about that wire ball. If it is wired, great. If not, it's okay. Hard part about this one can be I can't let the cue ball, I can't cross it above. So I got to kind of come in and just kind of nudge right on it. Just to buy me another shot. Plus, me hitting that and kicking it the way I did, it was a good thing because I ended up pushing the 9 ball up a little bit further. So now, wherever I get on the table, I have a better chance of getting that ball away now on my next shot. Or if I say they were to, more than likely they're going to thin off this and put me back over here. Now I can kick and I have a bigger ball and I don't have to worry about the scratch. So these are good things that, you have to think about the longevity of getting away from one shot and going to the next shot. And think about what it's going to give you for future shots. Sometimes you can't go with the whole offensive thing, so you play a slow style and you will just be extra careful. And by being extra careful, you buy yourself a shot and eventually you're going to get out of the trap. But you don't want to give it to where this day and age everybody wants to play offensive, which is what it is. It's an offensive game these days now. So the moving only works so much because the best offense is a good, best defense is a good offense. All right, in this situation, I'm going to kick with a low left-hand English, and I'm going to kick kind of hard and stick my cue ball right there. So now I'm going to push those 1, 9, and then 14 away. So as you see, those kind of got kicked away. I like this break because there's a ball close to my hole here. Very hard to get out of. Their lanes are kind of blocked up here. So this is going to be a tough one for my opponent to get out of. So this is one of those ones you hit with a slow roll, ton of low left, make sure you get through this angle, and then let it turn down deep. See how I jack up? I'm kind of massing off the 6. And you see the slow roll. So now I have a blocker, and I got out of, them having the ball right by the roll. This is a good break because it's hard to get out of if you can't see through a certain area. Here it does look like though I can get to, it's a very touchy shot and I would have to hit my English really good, but I'm going to try to get to this spot and turn the cue ball down. I just want the cue ball to hit any part of the 9 down, so I have to use a lot and I have to slow roll it, and then I'm having to get through this nicely close area here. But I'm going to try. So I didn't turn it down as much as I wanted to, but I wanted to make sure I got through the area. So I had to take one with the other. spot, I can see the 8 a little bit, so I'm going to try to bank the 8 towards my side. I'm not trying to make it necessarily, but I want to make sure I get the cue ball to hit the bottom side of 14 with some speed. So I'm going to have to swerve into it. I'm going to use extreme low right and run into it quick. Not too bad. This was a little bit softer. Now this one leaves your opponent an easy way to get out. So, you know, this break's not as good as the other ones that we've done. So this one, I mean, I'm just gonna bank with straight high with a touch of left hand English. High left, and I'm gonna aim a little bit right here. I'm not really trying to make it, I'm just trying to make sure it gets enough effort on the ball. If you use inside, the ball runs a lot faster, but your cue ball has a chance to bounce out too. So by using the high left and shooting it a little bit harder, or I can shoot it a little bit harder, I can kind of kill the cue ball over here. Now I do have to overcut it a little bit. But now you see why I say what I just said. This way, I have more movement, I took them away from shots, and I put the ball closer to my hole. Just crossing in and only getting here would not be so great for the shot, because then you still leave, there's no option, there's no threat by your hole to avoid someone shooting something towards their hole. Alright, I think this one's not very good because, I mean, it's got like a double kiss line here, so it's kind of a hard bank in general. But let's say I want to try to avoid it and I'm not really trying to make the ball. So sometimes you might just, I'm trying to figure out if I can get out of the way of this. So I'm going to use a high left hand ball. I'm going to hit it a little bit fatter. I'm not cutting at the ball. So when you use high left, you don't cut at the ball. You go straight through with your stroke and let the left turn the ball. This way the cue ball goes skipping through, so it still gets to about here. If you cut the ball goes to here. Well, when it goes here, that's no good. But if it goes here, it's going to skip the bank. You might even have a chance to make the 9 here in this spot. So let's try it. All right, it was tight. I mean, but that's what you see. So, had I hit it a little bit slower, I don't know if slow would have got, maybe a little bit harder with a little more left, it would have pulled it and I would have still got by. But I had to make sure that I didn't get to the cue ball to the rail too fast before that ball had a chance to turn and get over. It's always nice sometimes when you get a ticky like that, which was in that case. These are some of the best breaks if it was ever to be able to be mastered, but when people even say that they can really do it all the time, they're lying. There's nobody that can tell you that they're going to be able to double kiss and come around and get back in the sack. But I hear people tell me that all the time, so that's why I had to point that out. Now, this is a good break, tough to get out of, right? So let's see, options. My option here would probably be kicking at the bottom of the 9. So I'm going to use like a high right ball. So what I do is I look at it this way and I know what my angle is now. Because I'm going to use some right ball. I can't go straight center because of the way that the angle is. So you have to aim a little higher and then use a little, now you have to dictate your tip English. Everybody's tip English is different. So that's how you figure out whether or not how much you're going to use. That's unlucky. Alright, so in this spot I'm going to probably, instead of trying to shoot the 3 out or the 13 and give up the 6, I'm going to use the 6 and come straight through here and kind of leave, hopefully the 6 kind of just stays close to this area. But I'm really focusing on the cue ball to come behind the 3. So I was able to cover up the 6, not fully. So maybe I need to use a little more speed on it. I had the good angle on it, just need a little more speed, and I would have got back to behind the 3. Alright, I'm going to focus on trying to make this spot. I'm going to try to get out of the break. I'm going to shoot the 9, kind of cut it this way a little bit, play the cue ball about here, make sure I get behind the 2 and the 13. Probably just going to bank the 1 away and then send the cue ball through. Even better than optimalism. And I'm going to come off the 8. I'm not going to try to rub it slowly because I want it to not tie up the 8-14 so much. So I'm going to move it away a little bit. So that was one of those angles where you need to use the English. Now I'm going to bank the 10 into the top side of the 7, hit the 8, and try to move it over this way. I might even try to avoid the 8 actually. I'm going to overcut the 7 to bank that way and sit. So I'm going to leave the cue ball here. Ball's being tied up. Only this ball goes. Alright, but I have to shoot the 311 and try to stick right here. Alright, so the bad part of this is I left him the 13-8, and now he gets to open him up and leave me behind on the 8. So now I've put myself in a bad position because I shot a poor judgment of where I put the cue ball. Had I put the cue ball here the last shot prior, the break would have been fine. So me, by not having, that's how much 1 inch in one pocket is. If you don't do the right thing, it could change the whole outcome. What I'm telling right now, and I don't even have to execute it, but what I'm telling them, that's straight knowledge.